So welcome everybody. We have today, this is Conversations with Trish and Chris, and today we have a very, very special guest, Crystal Trois. And Crystal now has been a member of our team actually for now, I would say 4 months. Is that correct, Crystal? Would you say 4 months? So 4 months doing incredible things, building and creating her online business. Building and creating a website for her physical business, making incredible strides, already attracting leads and prospects from different parts of the world. And it's just amazing. We've just seen so much incredible progress, and we're pretty excited to see the future and what's to come with respect to Crystal's business. So what I would like to know, I think more than anything, is just a little bit, firstly, where are you from, Crystal? A little bit about your background and a little bit about your story, sort of what's got you to here.
Okay. So I am from Alberta, Canada, and I was born and raised here. And my husband and I, 11 years ago, we purchased a little fishing resort so that I could stay home with the children, and he was working in the oil field. And, you know, it was a lot of work having the 2 small children. And after about 9 years of that, I started to feel like, you know, we went into the business hoping to please everybody, and we were. I even had customers say, you know, why are you being so nice? Because I think a lot of campground owners sometimes, I think they get grouchy. And I think that that's because I think that people do demand a lot. And so I always said to myself, you know, if that ever is me, if I ever get to that point, I'm out, you know, I'm done. About year 9, I started to feel a little bit of it. And also the stress and the pressures. And so I started to look for something different. I kind of hung in there for a couple more years. So it's been 11 years now that we've had the resort. And I just seem to find that it's just getting to be too heavy for me. I'm not enjoying myself anymore, and my life isn't fulfilled anymore. So I was just happened to be looking online and found Chris and Trish, and it intrigued me. And so I decided to jump in both feet. And I put my head down, and I've been learning because it's the winter time now. So the resort is closed, and I have been just ultra focused on this and truly just totally focused on this, dreaming about it and talking about it and thinking about it all the time.
Awesome.
So now, did I give you all that? Was there something else that I missed? Basically, I've just been working my little hiney off, and I'm hoping to retire my husband within a year. And so I guess now that's only 6 more months, right? Because if it's it'd be more than that. It'd be 8 months. 8 more months that I have. And that's my goal. And then we're going to see what happens with the resort. So we're not totally sure what we're doing there yet, but getting my husband retired so he can be home to help. And then we'll go from there. And that's sort of the plan and my story.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, that's great.
What do you think, Crystal, because being a business owner, being a physical business owner, really gives you certain qualities. It gives you certain attributes. It creates or develops something in you that I don't think can actually be created maybe through a corporate job. I think there is a set of skills or a set of qualities that are really applicable to creating your online, to creating a physical business. What do you think some of those qualities would be that you're actually bringing into now this online business?
Having your own business, you have to be self-motivated. There's nobody telling you to do things. So you have to be, you know, on top of it. You have to be there for your staff. I'm not a traditional boss. I'm more like one of the gang. I'm like one of the coworkers. We work together. Everybody's opinion matters. That can come and hit you in the butt sometimes, but as a general rule, I have very happy staff, and everybody's opinion matters. And so I think the biggest learning lesson that is flowing so nicely over into the online marketing is the fact that I'm self-motivated. I know what it takes to be successful, from having to push myself all these years with the resort and my responsibilities.
That's interesting.
So you said a bit earlier, Crystal, that it's winter there where you are now in Canada, and the resort's closed. So is it only open part way through the year? It's not a 12 months open for 12 months.
That's right. I mean, we do have winter cabins. There's just 2 of them, and they have, they're beautiful. But we get only a little bit of business for people that are wanting to come ice fishing. Otherwise, people kind of just stay inside for the winter. They don't go out and venture unless we're having a beautifully warm winter, which doesn't make for the greatest ice fishing because it gets water on top of the ice, and it's quite slushy and difficult to move around. So, the resort is full strength about 6 months, but my responsibilities it's about an 8th month responsibility for me. It's the open and the close, and then make sure everything is ready for winter. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting, because here in Australia we don't have the ice and the snow that you live in winter. So it's, for me, it's hard for me to understand that part of it, but it's fascinating for me. I find it fascinating that everything freezes and you do ice fishing. I mean, that's fascinating.
I would trade with you. I've had enough of this. I would love to experience what you experience. Absolutely. That would be amazing. The problem with us in Canada, especially northern Canada, is we get vitamin D deficiencies in the wintertime. So we have to take vitamin D, and it's because we're lacking sun. Why? Because we're inside. The winter is just too cold. I believe 2 nights ago, 2 nights ago, it was 30 below zero.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. It is crazy. It's interesting because I saw on the news the other night, there was quite a big pile up on one of the freeways in, I think it was Missouri, and just the roads were iced and snow. And I think there was 100 cars involved in that particular. So we don't experience that in this country. So you're right, Chris. It's a little bit of a unknown for us.
Yeah,
it's quite interesting hearing, and this is what's so wonderful about an online business, is we're just hearing these different stories from different geographically placed people from all around the world. I think it's just amazing, and that's the power of this business, is that we get to connect with people from all around the world. It's amazing. Crystal, can I ask you, I think one of the big standouts for me in our conversation so far are you have team members, so you have employees already within your business to sustain it and to keep it going. And even though it's a seasonal business, you also still need some employees during those off-season times. Is that right?
Well, it's very nice when we do, because it helps us to just be able to back right off. I've struggled with finding good employees, and that's been a huge challenge. I've had the 2 employees that I have right now, I mean, it's only 2. It's a very small amount of employees, but it just works for their life. It's very difficult to have somebody come in on a season, and it takes a month to train them, and then there's only 4 months of the season left, and and then they're gone because they have to, have an income, and I can't provide that income. So I have finally found, 2 people that it just works perfect for their lives. And this year was the first time that we have somebody who is just so appreciative to be there, loves it out there. He's totally in his element. He's out ice fishing. He's, shoveling snow. He loves it out there. So, we've just gotten really lucky. It almost seems like the more I look around at all the little situations here and there in my life, it almost seems like everything was all lining up for me to do something like this or change my career and be able to do that. Because having the employees that I have now is allowing me to have more freedom than I've ever had. We used to live on the resort. We lived there for 7 years. We don't anymore. We needed a bigger house, and because the kids, as they got bigger, the house got smaller. And so, and it was also like a mobile home there. So it's quite chilly in the winter. It's more drafty. And now we live in this beautiful house that just gives you a big warm hug when you open the door, and it's just so warm and welcoming. So I'm grateful to be here. But the employees that I have now, I'm blessed because it's allowing me this freedom to explore a new career, a new objective.
That's so
awesome.
Wonderful. It's very wonderful to hear, because I think there's some polarities with my business. My physical business is halfway across the world in America. And because of the team members, once you get good team members, once you get people that you can depend on and trust and rely on, then you're free then to do the other things that are important in your life. And I think that there's some real parallels. Once you have that team, I have them thousands of miles away, you have them at the lake. It does give you that freedom and that flexibility, doesn't it, to then pursue something else. And that's I have that pleasure of being able to do that in this business as well. It's awesome. So, and that was me talking about how important are team members to you. I know for me they're very, very important. And it sounds like they're very important to you as well, and to the running of your business.
Yes.
Yeah. And you talk about freedom and flexibility. So in a way, and it's a bit like my business as well, I did have freedom in my business. I wasn't in a corporate role. I'd moved from that because I wanted freedom. And the business, the physical business gave me, and it sounds like it gave you freedom as well. However, you get to a point, and mine is 10 to 12 years along as well. Isn't that interesting?
Okay.
Right? And I get to a point where I was very stressed for other reasons, and that was investors coming into my business. And I don't know sometimes whether clients and customers of yours do they get a bit stressful?
Well, we're dealing with the public, so but fortunately, we do have a great customer base, and fortunately, because we're in the industry of relaxation and pleasure and recreation, we generally 98% of the people are amazing. I would even say 99. But it just once in a while, it only takes that one to ruin everybody's day, But generally, yes, we are very blessed. It's a good business to be in as far as dealing with the public, I think, myself.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And it's interesting because when people come on holidays, that's what they want, don't they? They want to relax. They want to unwind. They want to enjoy the element, what's happening around them and nature. So your personality is like that too. You feel very relaxed when you're around, you know what you're doing. It's not stressful. It's just a nice, pleasant, win-win situation for everyone. So that's what it sounds like to me.
Yes, we've always gone over and beyond. When we first bought the resort, it was so funny because the lady that had owned it prior, she was one of those people that had gone bitter. And she had a sign on the back wall behind the till that said, screwdriver, $1, phone call, $5, wrench, $2. And so you couldn't borrow a tool, air compressor. She had all these. We have never charged for any of those things because we're in the middle of nowhere. These people have no way of accessing this. It's an hour drive to go to any store, and besides ours. And so we just always have just been over generous and very kind, to everyone. Yeah. It kind of takes a toll on you if you feel you're being taken advantage of, and it does happen a little bit. But as a general rule, it's very fulfilling to be able to help people that are stuck. They're stuck. They need a tool. They need an air compressor. They need something. And I mean, $5, please. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So we do spend time looking after, we actually take care of our customers while they're there, which is, I think, maybe unique.
Yes, I think that sounds like it is unique. I mean, you can go to a store nowadays and people are generally nice to you, but if you're not buying what they want you to buy, or if you're not, doing what they want you to do, they, their attitude changes towards you sometimes. And if you're in that kind of industry that you're in, you're delivering a service to people. People are your asset. The people are your asset. So it sounds like you know exactly that.
Yes, they are the ones paying the bills, really, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Crystal, your house, so just so we get a bit clear, the house that you're living in, is that away from the lake? And how, if so, how?
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I cut you off there.
That's okay. And if so, how far away from the lake is it?
So we're about a half an hour away, maybe 25 minutes, but a half an hour away. So we're still close enough to, if there's a problem with anything, we can go and help, no problem.
That's great.
But
that's great.
Yes, but we're a little bit closer to Slave Lake, which they've got a couple grocery stores. They have a Canadian Tire. I don't know if you've heard, well, I guess in Australia you wouldn't have Canadian Tires. So it's like a big, huge hardware store with, kind of an expanded hardware store. And then we have a Walmart there as well. And then there's a couple fast food places. So that's the closest. So when we're at the lake, we're almost an hour from there. But when we're here, we're only about 35 minutes. So it puts us a little bit closer to the bigger centers, and it puts us a half hour closer to Edmonton, which is a big city, of course. And so it's nice to be able to have that in the winter where we can access things a little bit quicker than that extra half an hour.
That makes a difference. I remember when my family are down in Tasmania, which is an island off the mainland of Australia. And it was very big news when they got what we call a Bunnings. They've only just received a Bunnings, and that's a little bit like the Home Depot in America, and it would be a little bit like is it Canadian Tire, did you say?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a big deal, right?
It is. It's a big deal.
That's a big deal. So being close to that infrastructure, that makes the difference, doesn't it? So I'm assuming then your internet connection is very good where you are. And is it very good at the lake?
Actually, my internet connection is satellite. And a lot of people will say, I have satellite internet. But what they're saying is they have a satellite dish on their house and it's shooting to a tower somewhere. No, not our internet. Our internet is going straight out into space. So we pay extra money for internet out here. Yeah, because it actually is like satellite TV. It's hitting satellites in space. It's not hitting a tower down low where it's connected to wires. And I'm not really sure how that all works. But we truly have the satellite internet. I remember when I worked for, prior to the resort, I was an administrator for a company, and they had satellite internet, the same as mine, but nobody could really afford that except the big businesses. So it's a little more affordable, but it's still more expensive. And there's a limit to how many gigs as well, which can also cause it to be more expensive. So there are some challenges, but my options are very limited. And, if I wanted a conventional job, being so remote like this, the options are very limited. And truly, as I get older, I just really like staying in the house in the wintertime. I mean, I'd like to take some vacations next winter and spread my wings a little bit, get some sun on my skin. But yeah, it's challenging. And so to be able to fulfill a dream of freedom in the middle of nowhere is amazing.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes. It's an amazing message. And I think that is a limitation. However, you've overcome that limitation, which is incredible. And you've basically said, well, you know what? This is a cost of me doing business the way I'm going to do business. It's a little bit like I was having this conversation with Chris this morning with my real estate business. It's a cost of some of the things that I have to do over and above owning real estate here. It's a cost of doing business internationally. And we have to accept that, even though it's a little bit bigger than you would normally pay. It's a cost or part of that process. And it's an investment in the end. It's an investment in your journey and into your business. So, yeah, that's fascinating. It's brilliant. I think the remoteness of your story, like where you're positioned and where you are, I think is so incredibly valuable for other people to hear that. Because I hear people complaining about their internet connection and they're in the middle of the city, you know, it's like you got nothing to worry about, nothing to complain about, right?
That's right. That's right.
And it's probably much faster in the city. You know, we do have our challenges. And to be honest with you, with my children being 12 and 9, the internet usage is going up with the children just by themselves. So, of course, but with me working all day on the internet, it's definitely, definitely there. But it's still reasonable. It's still doable. But it is expensive. Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah, that's
awesome. It's a cost nowadays. I mean, there wouldn't be many households here in Australia, and I'm sure many households worldwide that do not have an internet connection. I think it's just what's going to happen in the future, and people just have to factor that into their lives, because you are very isolated without the internet. I mean, a couple of times here, even like our internet is really not like it is in America and the UK. It's quite slow here, and some days I get frustrated because it's not working fast enough for me, and you just have to sit back and say, well, you have got the internet, just chill out, go and do something else, right, and come back and it will all be sorted. So, yeah, I think you just have to factor that into your life expenses nowadays.
We do. We really do. Everybody. That's right. Yeah. But, we can go 15 minutes down the road to a little hamlet where my children go to school, and they have high speed, high speed internet. And it's unlimited. My mom gets unlimited. That's unheard of for us because we're always living in the middle of nowhere.
That's good.
It's funny.
There's a story I wanted to share with you, Crystal, and it's something that occurred to me this morning. Firstly, we just got to give it some context for those that are watching. And I know that we were on a coaching call, all three of us, a few days ago, and you were talking about wanting to achieve more coaching, wanting to but to position yourself in the business at a level where you get access to more leadership and more coaching. And I know that we sort of shared something with you as in feedback to you've done everything to achieve, because it requires extra funds, right? And we discussed around that as well. And we said to you, what you've done everything that you can do right now. You're building your business, you're taking action, you're getting results. What you do now is you just have to let it go. Even though, and this is for everyone in life in general, we want something so bad. Like we want it now, we want it so bad, and we want it so bad, we're just going to go and find out any which way to go and achieve that. And especially from an entrepreneurial perspective, because you're a business owner, and I think there is an instinctive thing in us to say, we're just going to go out and we just want it, and we're going to find a way to get that. And the answer hadn't presented itself as yet. And we said to you, you just have to let that go now. Just let that go and just go with the flow and get into a really good feeling place. And you just never know what might show up. So that's just to give context to the viewers out there. So it was interesting because I thought of you this morning. I went to our local Woolworths, which is a very big supermarket here. My daughter's moved out of home and she still left half of her stuff here. And some of the stuff, I just want storage for myself now because I'm getting a little bit selfish for me. So I wanted to pack up some of her old trophies. They get all the kids' trophies, and I was going to pack them into boxes. So I went to Woolworths yesterday and I was shopping in the aisles, and I just happened to stop, and this young man was packing shelves, and I said, can I get boxes from here? Is there any chance of getting empty boxes? And he said, you know what? I will do that for you. I will leave a trolley full of boxes at the back. And I said, are you sure? And he said, yep, I'll do that for you. I said, what time do I have to pick them up? And he said, 7 o'clock in the morning. So I said, great. So get up the next morning and I shoot down. Actually, I phoned them first, and they said they were a bit surprised to get this phone call. Anyway, they were gone for like 10 minutes. Honestly, I was on hold forever. They came back and they said, yes, there's a trolley out the back with a sign on it. It says, pick up at 7 o'clock. So I turn up at Woolies at 7 o'clock. It was a bit after, actually. It was about 10 past 7. And I said to the lady at the service desk, I'm here to pick up the boxes. And she's looking at me and she says, what boxes? And I said, like boxes. After you pack the shelves, there's boxes left over. And the young gentleman, she said, did you get his name? And I said, no, I didn't. Oh, well, I don't know about that. So I said, well, I did phone and they're here. And she goes, oh, okay. She said to me, we don't normally do that. Right? We just don't normally do that. So I went, oh, okay. So anyway, she calls out the back. A young chap comes out and he says, oh, yes, there's a big trolley with a big sign out there saying customer to pick up at 7 o'clock, right? I know this is a long way around this, but I wanted to share with you because sometimes, and they were there. They wheeled out to the front to me, and then I picked them up and I got them. But it's just sometimes things line up in the right time at the right moment. I just happened to stop when I saw that young man packing shelves. It's a very small thing, but I asked him and no one else packing in that store. He was the one I was attracted to. He was the one that turned to me and said, you know what, I'll do that for you. He was the one that actually took my word for it that I was going to be there at 7 o'clock the next morning. And he was the one that put a big sign on a trolley, took all that time and put it out the back for me. And then I turn up and they were there. So I know it sounds very small, but sometimes things just work out, right? Just if our intention is strong and it's karma, isn't it? It's what goes around comes around, and what we give out, because we give out in high energy, good energy, we're giving people, and it comes back in a different direction. And I was so grateful to him. I was really thankful to this man for just saving cardboard boxes for me, because you know, he just did that for me. So I just wanted to share that because I thought of you this morning when that happened and when you had that conversation about things lining up. Yeah. Right? Because you talked about that. The law of attraction, whatever it is, you know, at the moment you were saying your life is just being lined up right now. There are things that are happening that's just lining you up for this online business and for it to happen. And it was like me with the man with the boxes and running into him and you know, and you have these spontaneous conversations with people and then things help you to move in that direction. So that's a bit of a long-winded story coming from me, but I knew that I had to share that with you, Crystal. So I hope you don't mind.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I believe that the world will just totally flip over on its back and shift everything. You know, if you're lined up and your intentions are right, everything just moves. The universe moves everything just to suit what, you know, to fulfill whatever it is. If it's a true goal and a true focus and with true intent, like good, genuine intent, the universe just seems to just shuffle everything. My mom used to say to me, because she worked with me at the resort running the store for me for a couple of years, and she always used to say, I love watching you manifest stuff. It's amazing how you do that. I love watching it. So I you know, but I've gone in and out of that. And I mean, nothing's ever stagnant. If you're really good at manifesting, it's not going to be all the time. It's only going to be kind of when you're in the top of your game or in the top of your energy, your personal energy is high and positive and just high energy. And
great.
So so
I want to that's amazing. I want to share something with you around that too. I grew up in Melbourne in Victoria, so not in the state that I'm living in now. And I lived there until I was 45. So I lived down in Melbourne. That's down the bottom of Australia. I'd never thought of ever moving. I was a single mum down there, and it was, life was pretty good, but it was stressful with 2 kids, as you can imagine.
Oh.
And then soon a man came into my life, and he came from New South Wales, and I'd never thought of ever moving. And when my kids were old enough, we moved to New South Wales. So we moved interstate, so into another state. And I thought, well, I've got to get a job. So I got a job, and I travelled an hour and a half to this job every day. And this is where I met Trish. So can you imagine all the things that had to line up for me to meet Trish? It's just incredible. And so, and look where we are now, that was 2005.
No,
2004.
2004.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just incredible.
And we were only at the one job, for that corporate job, for how long? I can't believe when you told me the other day.
9 months.
9 months we were there because it was such a toxic environment. It was so awful that we were only there for 9 months, and we left within weeks, that corporate role. And then it was, our paths went like that, and then like that. It's just, it's fascinating. So you're spot on when you said at the beginning of this conversation that things just line up. They they work towards you getting towards where you want to be. So I think that that's a mixture of, you're right, high energy is number one. High energy.
And intention.
Yes.
And intention.
Focus.
Yep.
Focus.
And I think a really, like, a goal that's coming from your heart, that benefits the world in some way. I think if it's all selfishness, I don't believe that it happens as quickly, or if at all. It's almost like, it almost needs to have that energy of trying to change the world or making the world a better place in some aspect. And then it seems like the universe comes right on in and just helps shift everything around and line things up for you. So you just walk right into it instead of having to search for it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fantastic that you say that, because that gave me shivers. Like, as you were talking then, I'm thinking, this is really powerful. People need to understand that they have to have pure intent, right? It has to come from the heart. And then, if it's going to manifest to help others, right? It's just, wow, that really impacted me,
Crystal, I want to ask you a little bit more about your husband too, because you mentioned that, the main driver of creating and developing your online business is to get your husband out of his full-time job. And it sounds like, because it's the oil industry, it is. That rostered work, is it like a shift work situation, or is it just very long hours?
So he's been at the same place for it's 13 or 14 years now. And I drug him here because of a job for me. It was before we had children. And I had a job offer. I actually was just coming to help train someone, and they really liked me and I liked them. And Mike said, but I like my job back here. And so away he came, and he got a job right away. And in fact, I think he put his resume in 2 days late to this company that had it advertised in the paper, and they called him in for an interview and called him an hour after the interview and hired him, and he's still there now 13 years later. But so it's a 12 hours shift, and that's not including the drive. Unfortunately, from where we live, he's a good 2 solid hours from home. So it's 12 hours plus 2 and 2. So it's a 16-hour day. A lot of people aren't even awake for 16 hours. So it's very difficult. And I mean, we're getting into our mid 40s now. And so you can see that it's taking a toll on him. But worst yet, I guess I didn't finish with the shift. So 1 week he does have a beautiful job because it's 7 days and then he has 7 days off. So technically he only works physically for 6 months of the year. And when we homeschooled our children for 7 years, as a family, we were free in the wintertime to do whatever as a family. And it was so wonderful. So now that my children want to be back at school, he's still not happy about that because he just thinks that they should be home. He wants them home. He's very, very coddling to the children. He likes to be with them all the time. And more than any man I've ever met. He just loves being with the kids. And that's why when you said, Chris, that, can you imagine me, a single mom with 2 kids? And I'm like, no, because I find my children a lot of work. And truly, my husband he's a 50%er. He puts in 50% into those kids. It's all about the kids. Our life is, and it's because of him that our kids are up so high in our priorities. I mean, yes, I still would have been that way, but I was brought up with a single mom. So I learned that, we had to kind of take a sidestep sometimes when it came to making sure there was milk in the fridge and bread. So with Mike, he's amazing. So his shift goes 7 days nights. So he, and then 7 days days. But in the last 2 years, they brought on a new chemical. And this chemical is to help keep the pipes clean. And I must also say that we had a huge, 2 years ago now, huge decline in the oil field where people were losing their jobs everywhere. He did have to take a decrease in pay, but he kept his job all the way through. And oil is still trying to come back here in Alberta, and it's our biggest industry in Alberta. And but he's kept his job. But this chemical, I have a feeling like he brought me a sheet home that it's like a safety sheet where it lists, side effects and what it is and what it can do to you. And it's not nice. And I notice him, like they make them mask up now to go and do certain things they didn't have to mask up for before because of this chemical, but yet he can smell it in the air everywhere. So as everybody knows, if you smell something, you're actually ingesting particles of that something. Okay. So I've noticed his health decline. And if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. If you have millions and millions of dollars and it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. So to me, there's a bit of a heavy, a heavy load here where I really just really want to get him out of there. I mean, if we had to, I'm sure we would be just fine. We'd have to lower our standard of living and he could just go out of there and just get out of there. I'm that type of person. Let's go on an adventure. We'll go live in a camper somewhere or something, doesn't matter. But he's trying to hang in there and he's getting excited. I can see him getting excited with me doing this online learning this. I can see that he's seeing the end of him being able to quit, and he's already thought of things he's going to say to his boss, meaning he's going to say,
wow.
He's already shifting. He's shifting. And I can see him a lot lighter. He's not feeling like, this is never going to end. I can see he can see the end. So it's kind of exciting.
It is.
Yes, it is.
And hope is everything, right? Like hope, to be able to give hope to anyone, I think is very powerful, isn't it?
It is.
Definitely.
It's great that he believes in me though, because really he doesn't have a clue what I'm like. He does know what I'm doing, but not all the intricacies. And we used to watch movies in the evening. That was our pleasure in the wintertime. I've watched one movie in the 4 months that I've been doing this training. And so now he puts his foot down. Kate, tonight, this is what we're doing. So, but yet with him not knowing, it's the faith he has in me that's given him that hope. And I don't think he has a doubt that it's coming. Like no doubt at all. He has a lot of faith, and that puts a little pressure, but he does. He has faith.
Must give you
That's
strength.
wonderful. That's 2 people manifesting the same dream, right? That's powerful. That's 2 people. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
Beautiful.
I'm extremely blessed. Mike is definitely one of those things that was meant to be. We both feel that we've known each other before somehow. And we also went to school for a year and we met. We've never used those skills again. But, you know, it's he is amazing, man. I'm very, very blessed. I'm very blessed.
That's a great story because you two did meet, didn't you, doing computer lessons, right?
Yeah.
Computer classes?
Way back.
Yeah. That's funny because that's triggered the phone conversation that we had with you a long, long time ago.
Yeah,
and you were going like, we learned HTML and I like don't think that's applicable anymore. And I think that's brilliant because I think that has given you maybe a little bit of ease with maybe a little bit of understanding with some of it, but things have changed so much, haven't they? They've changed dramatically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Would you say that
it was like learning from scratch?
Yeah. And would you say that with the ability to build websites now, it does take time. You have to learn. However, could anyone do this? Could anyone build a website?
Oh,
could anyone...
Absolutely. If I can do it, I mean, you know, I don't even like Facebook. I just checked my emails and I knew how to search the web. Otherwise, you know, anyone, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And you've just created a brand new website for your resort. And you showed us the other day and it looks amazing. Honestly. I mean, you present it so well and you've got all the beautiful photos up there and they look really awesome. So you've done a fantastic job with that. Awesome stuff.
Thank you.
And what's the name of that website, Crystal?
It is anchorinresort.ca. So anchor is in ANCHOR. INN resort.ca.
Beautiful. That's awesome. I'm going to put that in the description box as well so anyone can actually go and click and have a look and see your beautiful resort. So that's amazing.
See what a newbie can do.
Yes. And that's really important because people are listening to this, watching this, thinking, oh man, I don't have no technical expertise. I'm just not like the young'uns anymore. The young ones can just get out there and they've got their devices and they know all the social media stuff. And that's some of the hurdles that Chris and I had to overcome because of age, right? Because you tend to put a bit of a limitation on that for some reason. And technical expertise, like I had no clue. And Chris still today does more of the technical expertise than I do.
But I'm no expert by a long shot. And I can build a website, but that's about it now. Know a little bit about background stuff, but you just learn it. And it's not as hard as you think it is. You go through the step-by-step training and it just seems to gel sometimes and you just follow it because the training's so good. It's easy to follow.
It is so good. It's so foolproof, and it is so foolproof. It's you watch a video and click here, and then explains what you're actually doing, and it sets things up that I don't know how many years it would take to learn these steps and then understand what's going on afterwards. So the training is amazing. It's foolproof, really. They must have spent so much time putting that together, years and years and years to get it refined to what it is now. It is amazing.
It's incredible because the thing is I've been on journeys of professional development, if you'd call it that, or coaching and mentoring to get my business to where it is. I've also been in coaching for mindset development, and they've always been two separate packages or two separate entities that you have to go to get this and to get this. So the business workings or a business model or how to generate and increase your wealth, and then you've got your mindset. You've got another school of program that can do that. I think this is the first program that because we're part of a community, we're part of an educational training. And I think it's the first one that I've actually seen that they've actually combined both. Well, you don't have to go anywhere else. Everything else, everything, the community, the mindset, the technical development, the business model, everything is here. That's why this is so incredibly powerful, and why people turn to this model to not only increase their life, their lifestyle, but to get a business model that's going to work for them as well. So it's so very powerful.
It is. And you actually forgot one important figure there, and that's the spiritual growth. The spiritual growth with this company is amazing. It makes you more aware of your spirit, and they consider that to be very important in being successful. And they teach their students, and it's amazing. You don't have to go anywhere else for, self-help or motivation, the setup of the business, social. You don't have to go anywhere.
True.
You can live in the middle of nowhere and have all those things in one place. And it is so effective. It's such a wonderful place to be. I'm so happy. And since I've started, the more I learn about the community and the company, the more I am so grateful to be here. I'm not finding flaws. I'm finding nothing but blessings. Everything is given to us. Everything to be successful, right from the mindset to, which key to press on the computer.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And too, when you have any question, the community is behind you 100%. That's what I love. Any question, any doubts that you have, if you want to post an ad or you want to post a video and you want to get that feedback or get it critiqued, it's just open arms with honest, open, transparent feedback from people all around the world. It's pretty amazing. It's phenomenal, actually.
It is.
It is.
So I've got a question for you, Crystal, as we sort of near to the end of this conversation. And I ask this of everyone, and it's a big question. It's a very big question. However, I'm going to ask it of you. Where do you see yourself and your business in 5 years' time?
Oh,
I get that reaction too, don't I, Chris, every time?
Just about every time.
It is, isn't it? Okay.
Oh,
wow.
5 years. I see my husband and I. So 5 years, if I think of my children, they're going to be 17 and 14. I could see us traveling the world as a family before they move away. I can see total freedom, complete financial freedom. Because I plan on because the company offers different ways as well, trains you in different ways. I want to take advantage of all the ways. I just want to perfect one at a time. So it's going to take me a few years, I think, to get through all the little modalities that you can kind of put your tentacles into. So 5 years, from the progress I've made in 4 months, 3 months.
Yes.
5 years, I can see complete and absolute financial freedom and totally free. Just being able to travel and just financial freedom. I see that 100%. I never think 5 years. I just think 1 year at a time, I guess.
I know. I think we all do. We all do. I think it's a very big question because it really puts people outside of their comfort zone too. Because it
does.
Yes. Because we are used to going from year to year, even from 6 monthly or bi-weekly.
Yeah, that's right.
And the big thing for me is that I know that for the last few years of the resort that I wasn't enjoying, I was noticing that I would be in the beginning of summer, I'd be like, oh, I'll just breathe, I'll blink and it'll be the summer will be over. And then the winter would start and I'll blink and the winter will be over. So when I looked at the business model and I realized that if I was to dive in for just these short periods of time that just seemed like a blink for the last 2 years, what I could accomplish in such a short time and the difference that I could make in our lives, in such a short time if I just focused.
Yes.
That's what was a real big thing for me, because, you know, it doesn't matter what happens with time. You could sit and watch TV and time's still going to go by, or you can apply yourself to improve your life and time's going to go by, but the progress has been amazing.
Yeah.
Such a good analogy, isn't it?
Yeah,
Chris?
so good.
That's such a good analogy.
Incredible. Very powerful once again. Very powerful.
And time
Great
goes
message.
by. Watch TV or learn, reskill, and achieve more growth, spiritual
and
physically and mentally, than watching TV and time still going by. I know what I'd prefer. So that's just an awesome analogy. That's brilliant, Crystal. So I want to say, on behalf of Chris and I just want to thank you from the bottoms of our hearts. You mean a lot to us. You're a team member of ours. And we have loved watching every moment of your journey. It's been inspirational. You're going to be inspiring so many others on this journey. It's amazing. You in Canada, us here in Australia, and we will get to physically connect one day, which is going to be amazing.
Yes.
You are a true inspiration. Your story is incredible. We loved every minute of you sharing every part of your story, and everyone else will too, listening to this interview or this conversation. So I want to just say thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, Crystal, your story and the way that you tell your story has such power and impact, and I'm getting a little bit emotional right now because I know that you're putting everything into it, and even when we catch up and have a call, and this one in particular has really impacted me. Some of the things that you shared in this is just incredible, and I just want to say thank you for being who you are and bringing the blessings to us. Thank you.
Aw. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. You're very, very welcome, and I'm so grateful to be in your world, in your circle. Very grateful.
That's lovely. I'm getting emotional.
Thank you.
Now. That's beautiful. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.